B5.
A favorite topic of politicians and law enforcement authorities. Yet the problem just grows and grows, and that was a major subject as the nation's governors opened a three-day winter meeting in Washington today. Rita Braver reports.
Virginia Governor Charles Robb said that illegal drug trade is booming. Current sales running more than $80 billion a year, one-half the combined budgets of all 50 states.
There are too many drug deals and too few police, too much shoreline and too few patrols. There are too many cases and too few prosecutors and too many felons for too few prison cells.
Attorney General William French Smith announced that the administration will send Congress a major crime package this week. It will include legislation making it easier to seize the property of drug dealers.
We are trying to get, for example, changes that will permit the forfeiture of proceeds and profits and various other changes which we think would greatly aid us in this enforcement effort.
And Associate Attorney General Rudolph Giuliani said Congress should also enact a law to permit the Justice Department to keep the millions of dollars it's been seizing in drug busts.
If it could be turned back into law enforcement, a lot of the drug enforcement budget, if not all of it, could be offset really by the property of drug dealers.
Much of the administration's crime package will be aimed at curbing drug traffic. For example, a plan to ease the restrictions on judges who want to deny bail to wealthy drug dealers likely to flee the country. Governors say they want all the help they can get against increasing robbery and murder that accompany drug traffic. Rita Braver, CBS News, at the governor's meeting in Washington.
There was a big opium bust in Chicago last night. Opium, the raw material for heroin. Law enforcement authorities say they seized about 14 pounds of it in a parking lot near O'Hare Airport. Its eventual worth about $24 million. Police say the opium came from India and arrived in Chicago on a flight from Washington, D.C. There were 3 arrests.
I do a lot of weekend driving in pretty heavy traffic, and everything's riding on my Goodyears. These racing tires give me the kind of handling I need. And during the week, I count on Goodyear Street Radio, because on the track or off, I feel better with the blimp behind me.
Get the blimp behind you. Come up to Goodyear.
You don't have to be a hotshot driver to have a big following.
Denture wearers, here's Martha Ray with big news.
Folks, if you wear dentures and smoke like Ted, I've got a new super strength denture cleanser. Just for smokers. New Smoker's Polident. Watch. We'll take half this denture stained with tobacco. Ugly. Now, new Smoker's Polident. It's the only cleanser with a super strength cleaning system to get tobacco stains super clean. See? So take it from a big mouth. New Smoker's Polident gets tough tobacco stains super clean.
First Lady Nancy Reagan has invited about 500 close friends to a party tonight for Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. The setting will be pure Hollywood, a soundstage at 20th Century Fox, and the guests will include the royalty of politics and the movie industry. It's the highlight of the royal couple's second day in California. More from Jerry Bowen.
The Queen attended Episcopal church services in San Diego this morning as bad weather continued to embarrass her California host. For a while, it seemed there was water everywhere, a broken main outside the church in San Diego, and a steady London-style drizzle as the royal couple arrived in Palm Springs for lunch with former ambassador to Britain, Walter Annenberg. Nonetheless, the Queen and Prince Philip have managed to keep on schedule, he dodging rain showers to visit the San Diego Zoo. There was a royal encounter with a koala, this part of the prince's keen interest in wild animal conservation. And if the weather seemed vaguely familiar to the Queen, there was Shakespeare too. She unveiled a statue of the bard and heard some sonnets.
But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest.
Afterwards, there were some minor gaffes. A city official touched her on the back, which just isn't done, and somehow she was led out of the theater the wrong way. American reporters, meanwhile, were led through the royal yacht Britannia for a rare glimpse. The dining room being readied for a formal dinner, each plate and glass measured just so. The royal drawing room and the royal suites. A staff of 22 officers and over 250 crew man the Britannia during this tour of the West Coast, literally a home away from home.
We treat it, I think, as a floating palace, our Queen's home. We're all very proud to serve here. I've been on board here 4 years. It's a fantastic job. And from a naval point of view, it's a good ocean-going yacht.
And at day's end, when the Queen and her dinner guests have gathered on the decks of the royal yacht, the Royal Marines Band performs the ceremonial beat retreat, the centuries-old tradition of calling the troops back from the battle lines for a night's rest before setting out to fight yet again. The modern-day version is more of a mini marching concert with anthems and the lowering of flags. Her Majesty requires a night's rest, too, as she continues her advance up the West Coast. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Anyone trying to take a 9-inch dagger on an airliner wouldn't get very far at most of the world's airports, but in India, the right to do that was granted today to 12 million Sikhs. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi yielded to several of the Sikhs' religious demands, including the right to carry their ceremonial daggers aboard domestic airline flights. Mrs. Gandhi did not address the Sikhs' political demands for more home rule in the Punjab state. On the other side of India, in Assam, a new state government was sworn in today, despite a protest strike that blacked out the state's capital city. The new chief minister promised to restore peace and help the victims of the election riots that left up to 2,500 dead and 100,000 homeless. Gordon Josoloff reports from New Delhi.
Life in overcrowded Assam state has never been easy, but it was luxury compared to the refugee camps for thousands who fled the Assam violence. These are immigrants from Bangladesh who came under attack from natives of Assam who want them out. In the camps, their enemies now are hunger, exposure, and disease. Some food has arrived, sacks of rice and lentils, but how long it will last and how long it will be before more comes is anyone's guess. The very young and very old suffer the most under such conditions. India already has one of the world's highest infant mortality rates, and the odds for a long life get a lot shorter here. Relief workers who've seen many camps such as these say even they are overwhelmed by what they've found.
We never imagined how big the nature of the relief would be.
This private mercy mission is affiliated with Mother Teresa, the Nobel Peace Prize winner based in India. It hurriedly collected $2,700 in one day before coming here. The mission leader called their efforts merely a drop in an ocean of need. A shortage of medicines, bandages, and qualified personnel means only a few people can get treatment. Some with serious problems are lucky enough to be cared for in hospitals 60 miles away. This man says he was shot on the back by police trying to stop Assam's civil war. For everyone, the memories are hard to forget. This man recalls in watercolors the scene as police opened fire on crowds burning his village. In New Delhi, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's government says relief efforts are being slowed by the inaccessibility of many areas and by the sheer numbers involved. It could also add by continuing tensions and bloodshed. And for the victims of Assam, ending the violence would be the most welcome relief of all. Gordon Josoloff, CBS News, New Delhi.
Whale watching has become a popular spectator sport, a growing tourist attraction in this country and elsewhere. Along the coast of Mexico this weekend, the oohs and ahs of a boatload of whale watchers turned to cries of pain and cries for help. A whale burst to the surface directly under the boat. The wooden craft, with 10 persons on board, flipped into the air and smashed back into the water where it was whacked by the whale's tail. One person, an American tourist, was killed. 3 other persons were injured. One of them is in critical condition.
The new money market accounts at your bank pay high money market rates.
So does our money market fund.
The new money market accounts also give you easy access to your money.
So does our money market fund.
But unlike a money market fund, ours is federally insured.
Introducing insured money market accounts from America's banks for security with no ifs.
Last year, European experts voted this Renault Car of the Year. Now, American experts agree. They named the American-built Renault Alliance Motor Trend's 1983 Car of the Year. Alliance was judged for styling and design, quality and comfort, performance and dollar value. Renault Alliance 1983 Car of the Year. European technology now built in America. 11.9% financing now available on new Jeep, Renault, and American Motors models.
Again, the war in El Salvador has triggered a battle in Washington, a battle over how far the U.S. should go, how deep a commitment the U.S. should make to help the government of El Salvador defend itself. President Reagan wants to dispatch increased military aid to that troubled ally. The story from John Ferrugia.
Administration sources say the president is convinced that $60 million in additional military aid is critical to keeping up the Salvadoran government's fight against leftist guerrillas. That amount would bring total aid this year to nearly 4 times what Congress has already appropriated. The president has called in the chairman of the House Appropriations and Foreign Relations Committees to meet with him tomorrow to try to sell them on the idea. The U.S. gave the government of El Salvador $82 million in military aid in 1982. But this year, Congress has authorized only $26 million. There is concern that the Salvadoran government's war with leftist guerrillas is not going well. Said one administration official, without more money, they are in a tough situation. The additional money would supply the government with new weapons, ammunition, and spare parts. But Mr. Reagan is facing tough opposition from many in Congress who won't support a government they see as lacking in popular support because it's brutal to its own people.
I don't think that we ought to continue providing military assistance to the government there, because right now it's like money going down a rat hole. There's no way the government is in a position to defeat the guerrillas militarily, just as there's no way the guerrillas are in a position to defeat the government militarily. Yet if the...
To avoid a fight which he could lose, administration officials say the president has ruled out trying to push a supplemental appropriations bill through Congress. Instead, White House officials say Mr. Reagan prefers to reprogram existing funds and give them to El Salvador. In this way, he will have to deal only with the Appropriations Committee and not the full House. If the president cannot convince congressional representatives to go along with the redirecting of existing funds, he has another option. Sources say, if necessary, he would bypass Congress completely by taking the money from emergency contingency funds, which he alone controls. John Ferrugia, CBS News, the White House.
Americans are gaining confidence that the economy will continue to improve this year. That's the finding of a new poll by the magazine U.S. News and World Report. The survey found that about 56% expect the improvement, and that's about 10 percentage points higher than in April. 3 top economic officials in government agreed on the prospect for further economic recovery, but in separate television interviews they added a big if. The if is world oil prices. George Herman has details.
While some officials of OPEC raced from country to country trying to hammer out an agreement limiting production and thus stemming the fall in prices, others waited impatiently. The Persian Gulf nations repeated that they will wait only 1 week and then they'll start slashing prices themselves to beat other price cutters. President Reagan's chief economic advisor said it was like hungry dogs fighting over scraps and producing a collapse in the artificially high prices.
I've heard experts say that the price could fall easily down into the low 20s. I think that would not be too low. I think that would be a good thing for the American economy. I think it would be a good thing on balance for the world economy. We will see prices in general of not just energy, but throughout the entire economy. We will see prices rising less rapidly as a result of a decline in oil prices.
Treasury Secretary Reagan chose to put it in terms of money made available for the American economy to spend.
For every 10% that oil goes down, there's about a $10 billion savings that we Americans will not be spending on energy that we otherwise would be spending. Now, oil has come down from in the 35 area down into the 30 area. We've already seen some part of that, so our bill has already been cut more than $10 billion. Another $3 to $5 a barrel, another $10 to $15 billion savings.
And Federal Reserve Board Chairman Paul Volcker thinks lower oil prices plus a burgeoning recovery offer a handsome hope for the future.
Let me say, just as strongly as I can, that we've been through a lot of turmoil, a lot of pain, a lot of difficulty. I also think that we now have an opportunity that has not been before this country for a long while, for a long period of balanced, productive expansion.
But in the end, all three agreed that first, the federal deficit has to be reduced so that high interest rates will not abort the recovery. George Herman, CBS News, Washington.
We're almost there.
Hope they've got some coffee on.
Here, this will warm you up.
You make good coffee.
Yeah, isn't it great? It's Master Blend.
Costs more, huh?
Nope, usually less. It only tastes expensive.
Master Blend, a delicious blend of beans we roast and grind a special way so you can save money. Master Blend, it only tastes expensive.
Gave birth to 3 babies.
Yeah.
All on the same day.
Yeah.
And ever since, birthday presents have been a big problem.
Yeah.
But this year, we're sending the kids the FTD birthday party bouquet. Johnny'll have a blast in Biloxi. Julie'll go on a toot in Toledo. And Jackie'll get all choked up. We like it so much, we're going to have a party ourselves.
Just when you think you've figured out what the wind chill factor means on your TV weather forecast, now you've got to deal with the pH factor in your rain. Well, maybe not in your rain, but in the rain in Maine. The pH forecast has made a big splash in Maine, and Steve Young tells us all about it.
TV stations in Maine are among the first in the nation to broadcast, of all things, a weekly acid rain index, along with the weather.
Up at Bridgeton, the site reporting a pH level of 3.7. That's highly acidified precipitation.
I think it should scare people if somebody comes along and says, Mike, your acid rain index for the week is 3.5. Now, that's too acidic to support fish, and it's getting very close to vinegar, and this is what you're living in.
Ed Reef runs a fly and tackle shop in Bangor. He moved here to escape the chemical plants of New Jersey, but says he is now living with pollution generated as far away as Ohio.
I don't think it's fair that places like Ohio should have less stringent laws and drop their pollution on me.
The pollution from Ohio and the rest of the Midwest is mainly sulfur dioxide, which combines with water to make acid rain. Acid rain is believed to destroy freshwater fish and plant life. State officials concede that some of the acid rain that falls in Maine is generated by local industry, for instance, this paper mill. But they point to the direction of prevailing winds and blame more than half of Maine's acid rain on the Midwest. Most of that, they say, comes from the electric power industry. The industry insists its emissions are perfectly legal.
Why should we go out and reduce our emissions enormously below what the law calls for and lay that enormous extra cost upon the people and the industry of our service area? I think if we did that, they could justly run us out of town, and we deserve it.
Maine officials concede the emissions may be legal, but they insist that pollution laws in the Midwest are too lenient.
The question is whether the citizens of Maine should be shackled by poor environmental protection in another state.
Maine has asked the Environmental Protection Agency in Washington to clamp down on acid rain pollution. In its only response in 15 months, EPA said the time frame for proposed action is difficult to predict, and we are proceeding at full speed. Now, a combination of federal inaction and bad news on TV,
4.25 is moderately acidified,
is shortening tempers here. The forecast is for more sectional antagonism.
If Ohio is going to keep their rates down on my back, I'm not going to appreciate Ohio.
Steve Young, CBS News, Bangor, Maine.
This year, Shrida Chilar was paid a left-handed compliment by the Guinness Book of Records. It reported that the nails on his left hand were the world's longest, now about 2 feet long, but not 4 long. He plans to commercialize his curlicued cuticles by cutting them and selling them to a museum. He says the long nails have cost him his job as a photographer and made his social life a bit difficult. You might want to meet him, but you wouldn't want to hold his hand. An Irish sprinter nailed a world's record today, the record for the indoor mile. Eamon Coughlin ran it in 3 minutes, 49.8 seconds. He ran it in a meet held in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
On world record time. You see the clock in the upper right-hand corner. Eamon Coughlin out of Ireland, the current indoor world record holder, trying to break his own time of 3:50.6. Eamon Coughlin will win the mile in the Meadowlands.
And he has gone under 3:50, the first mile ever under 3:50. This is a new world record.
Yes, we love our shredded wheat. It gets us on our way. We love that whole wheat flavor. What a way to start our day.
It has no added sugar. I like that best of all.
And not a bit of added salt in the big or small.
No added sugar, no added salt. Nabisco shredded wheat is a natural favorite.
Morning time is great with shredded wheat. We love each crunchy bite. Nabisco shredded wheat is real whole wheat, that's right.
Made from 100% whole wheat. No added sugar or salt.
That's right. Nabisco.
Hey, you folks enjoying the trip?
Last week, the Orient Express.
This week, the Cairo Local.
Very international.
Right down to my car.
International. So world makes a welcome.
I bought my scuba in Aruba.
So world makes a welcome. MasterCard International.
Ready for the next great romance in your life? Silhouette Special Edition.
I know all about great romances. I'm Janet Daly. Silhouette Special Edition is unlike any other. Longer, spicier. Why, you'll be so involved, you can't put it down.
Make your own special time even more special with Silhouette Special Edition from Silhouette Books.
4 Democrats already have formally entered the race for next year's presidential nomination. The early telemetry places former Vice President Mondale in the highest orbit. But on the launching pad is another named Democrat who's been in orbit before, but a different kind of orbit. Eric Engberg reports.
He is the Democrat whose footsteps Walter Mondale hears most clearly. He's also the one White House insiders have nightmares about. John Glenn, 61, senator from Ohio for 8 years, is looking to add the presidency to what was already a pretty full resume.
23 years in the military. Defense is going to be important. I think my background gives me judgment in those areas. I was test pilot. I was an astronaut, which certainly was out on the cutting edge of science.
Liftoff, the MA-6.
He came to politics by way of outer space. His orbital flight, in an era when no one knew if those things would fly, gave him star quality, which endures more than 20 years later. Out campaigning, there's no need to say, "Hi, I'm John Glenn." Even other politicians want his autograph.
One to a customer.
He still flies at reduced altitudes, largely for relaxation, his wife Annie acting as co-pilot. The splashdowns these days are in places like Iowa, New Hampshire, and other early battleground states. He is organizing there and elsewhere and has a large campaign staff already in place in Washington. Nonetheless, Glenn has been criticized for allowing such groundwork as fundraising to lag behind other candidates. But his aides insist they're better off for now to let Mondale set the pace.
We felt that probably 14 to 16 months before the early caucuses and primaries was the time that was necessary to go ahead and put together the organization and do the fundraising necessary. It's pretty much on schedule, as the way I see it.
Glenn's campaign plan, to be the middlest of middle-of-the-roaders, capitalize on his expertise in defense and technology, flash the smile that has been compared to Ike's, and overcome the rap that he is a boring speaker by showing that he can stem wine with the best of them.
But you know, a lot of people have been telling me to cultivate a more exciting image, pound the podium more, yell more into the microphone, you know.
While he is well known, his views are not. And Glenn, who lost the first time he ran for the Senate, is aware that being a hero isn't enough. So when recent articles claim Glenn has a problem with Jewish voters because of past statements that the PLO be involved in Mideast talks, he felt the need to make a speech backing Israel, saying his earlier comments had been misunderstood.
The misconstruction of it was that I was proposing the U.S. go and unilaterally negotiate with the PLO. I never proposed that, and so I think I set that straight the other day.
Glenn won't formally announce his candidacy for many weeks. He can be more serene than others in the candidate pack. He has no need to get his name in the papers. It's been there before. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
French politicians are fond of complaining about U.S. cultural imperialism, particularly the exports of American television. But that doesn't mean French politicians can't put American TV techniques to their own uses. David Andelman has a report from Paris.
It might be straight out of an Ed Koch primer, but this man isn't running for mayor of New York. He's running for mayor of Paris. The style's the same, just the words are different. Suddenly, French politics, as old as the French Republic, have become political marketing American style. And in a close race like the nationwide municipal election campaign now in full swing, selling candidates the American way just might make all the difference.
I think they are very successful. I think they can represent 1 to 5% of the votes.
Savoir, comprendre, agir. Television spots like these are barred during the campaign itself, but their phenomenal success in selling the government's economic policies in pre-campaign days has convinced nearly everyone that the days of political marketing have arrived in France. So, months in advance, the candidates begin arriving at the big political consultants to plan their strategy. Candidates hone their technique with experts
Lilloise, Lillois,
before turning it loose on the public.
Lilloise et Lillois.
From Paris to Nice, across France, the whole political landscape is changing.
For a politician, it's necessary to, I would say, sell himself as, products.
In fact, it's saturation coverage as the political temperature heats up for what's being billed here as the first nationwide test for socialism, Election Day next Sunday. But regardless of which party wins or loses, the big winner will be a new political technique transplanted to an old continent. David Andelman, CBS News, Paris.
And that's the news. I'm Morton Dean, CBS News, New York. Have a good evening and a good week.
It's a great day. Well, he's not the father of the bride. I am. He's my Aetna agent. I met him when my Susie was her size, and my business wasn't much bigger. From day one, he's worried as much about my business as I have. Do I have enough insurance? Or too much insurance? Do I have the right insurance? And thanks to him, I'm free to worry about other things. Like how I'm going to pay for all this.
Call your Aetna agent.
Aetna, I'm glad I met you.
I've never seen anything like this before.
It's Aquafresh. They took the label off to show you what only Aquafresh has. It's triple protection formula. All the cavity-fighting fluoride of the leading paste. All the breath freshener of the leading gel. And gentle cleaners that even remove stained film. Concentrated in one complete toothpaste.
What's that, Mom? Aquafresh. Can't you see?
Triple protection Aquafresh. A complete toothpaste.
I'm Bill Curtis. How do decaying U.S. highways endanger our lives? And coverage of Hollywood's gala for Queen Elizabeth, Monday on the CBS Morning News.
This is CBS.
Snowwatch starts early. When you need to know, count on Ron Howes and Snowwatch throughout the day and night. Brought to you by Big Star Food Stores serving Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Barbara Mandrell's 1 hour photo for the best quality developing you can get. And Bonanza. Head for Bonanza, home of the Fresh-tastics food bar. When it comes to cancellations, Snowwatch starts early. Snowwatch is there when you need it the most. From the friends you can turn to.